You didn't lose your purpose. You were never supposed to find it in the first place. Like it's a job posting or a personality quiz result. Purpose isn't found, it's remembered. And the reason most people never get there isn't because they're lazy or lost or behind. It's because somewhere in the middle of their transformation, and the part nobody talks about, they quit. Not because it was too hard, because it was too quiet, too unclear, too messy. So today I want to walk you through that middle, because if you're in it right now, I need you to know you're not broken, you're exactly on schedule. The hero's journey begins with disruption, not clarity. Every story that's ever mattered to you starts the same way. Something breaks. Joseph Campbell called it the call to adventure, the moment your old life stops fitting. For me, it wasn't one moment, it was a season, an accident that slowed my body down long enough for my mind to catch up, a job that ended, a family that came apart before it could come back together. At the time, none of it felt like a call. It felt like collapse. But here's what I've learned coaching people through their own collapses. The call never arrives as an invitation. It arrives as a demolition. Life doesn't ask permission before it hands you the beginning of your story. It just starts tearing down the version of you that was never going to make it to the end anyway. If something in your life is falling apart right now, a relationship, a career, an identity you built yourself around, I want to offer you a reframe. That's not the universe punishing you. That's the first page. Here's where most personal development content lies to you. It tells you the next step after the call is building. New habits, new mindset, new 5-year plan. Wrong order. Wayne Dyer used to say you can't build a new life on top of a self that's still grieving the old one. Before you become, you have to unbecome. The Tao Te Ching says it even simpler. The usefulness of the cup is in its emptiness. You can't fill what's already full of who you used to be. This is the part of the journey I call the unbecoming. It's not glamorous. There's no real worthy montage for it. It's just you, quietly stripping away the roles, the opinions, the coping mechanisms that got you through the old chapter, and sitting in the space where they used to be. Most people panic in that empty space and rush to fill it with anything. A new relationship, a new hustle, a new identity borrowed from someone else's life. Don't. The emptiness is doing something. Let it. Joe Dispenza talks about this in terms of the body keeping score, how your nervous system rehearses the past so faithfully that it starts predicting it as your future. You're not just remembering your wound. Your biology is reenacting it chemically every single day, unless you interrupt the loop. And this is where it gets interesting, because Neville Goddard would tell you the wound was never just something that happened to you. It's raw material. He believed you're always living inside an assumption about who you are, and most people are unconsciously assuming their wound is their identity. Flip that. The exact thing that broke you is usually the exact material your purpose is built from, not despite the wound, through it. I didn't become a coach in spite of losing everything. I became one because I know from the inside what it costs to rebuild and what it takes to actually do it. Your wound isn't disqualifying you from your purpose. It's your resume for it. Now, the part nobody sells you because it doesn't sell. Everyone loves the before and after. Nobody talks about the middle because the middle doesn't photograph well. It's the stretch where your old identity is gone, your new one hasn't solidified, and you genuinely do not know who you are yet. This is where 90% of people quit, not because the journey was wrong, because the middle felt like proof it was. It's not proof of failure. It's the architecture of transformation. You cannot skip from demolition to grand reopening. Every single hero's journey you've ever loved, every story you've ever cried at, has a second act that feels like the hero has lost. That's not a plot hole, that's the point. If you are in your messy middle right now, unsure, ungrounded, maybe even embarrassed that you don't have it figured out, I want you to hear this clearly. Staying in the middle a little longer is not the same as being stuck. Sometimes remembering who you are takes longer than forgetting did. Eventually, and it does come, you cross back over. Campbell called it the return. You don't return to your old life. You return to the world, but as someone who's been remade by what you walked through. The Dalai Lama has a teaching I come back to constantly, that our purpose isn't separate from our suffering. It's what we do with the awareness our suffering gave us. The point was never to skip the hard chapter. The point was to come back changed enough that your life becomes useful to someone still stuck in theirs. That's the whole arc. Call, unbecoming, wound, middle, return. And when you return, you're not the same person who left. You're the person who remembered. If any part of this landed, if you're in your call, your unbecoming, or your messy middle right now, I built something for exactly this moment. Comment the word remember below, and I'll send it straight to you. You didn't lose who you are. You're just in the part of the story before you remember it. I'll see you in the next one.